Welcome back to the MMA Fight Room. Thanks for tuning in. If you are new, it is your boy Chris, and I'm back with another picks video, this time for UFC Mexico. Brandon Moreno taking on Brandon Royval. Now, before I get into it, guys, follow the Instagram at MMA Fight Room. I got fight announcements, live odds, pick flips if I make any, UFC content. Check it out, guys, at MMA Fight Room. Appreciate the new followers and the new subscribers. Let's get into it, guys. First fight on the card, we got Muhammad Naimov taking on Erik Silva. Now, Erik Silva learned mixed martial arts, had to have been late because he's 36 years old and he's only got 11 professional fights. And his opponent, Muhammad Naimov, 29 years old, already 12 professional fights in his career. So Erik Silva, 36, I can't put too much stock into a guy already in his debut, a loss to TJ Brown. TJ Brown not in the UFC, already cut from the UFC. So, Erik Silva is also a grappler. That's what he's known for. And TJ Brown was able to out-grapple him. Then he led to a cardio dump, which TJ Brown was able to take advantage of. Arm triangle choke submission loss for Erik Silva against TJ Brown. And now he's taking on Naimov. I think this is a step up in competition and a step down in competition for Naimov. This is Naimov came coming off a decision win against Nathaniel Wood, where he had very good moments. He dropped Nathaniel Wood in that first round. He was grappling with Nathaniel Wood. He showed that he can grapple. He showed that he can strike. And yeah, like I said, Nathaniel Wood could even beat Erik Silva right now. Muhammad Naimov should get this one by KO or by decision, guys. Next fight, we got Victor Altamirano taking on Felipe dos Santos. Very exciting fight here. Felipe dos Santos, 7-1. His only loss to Manuel and took this fight on short notice. Won a round against Manuel. Manuel has one of the heaviest hands of the weight class. He was able to withstand the shots from Manuel. He has a chin. He comes forward in all of his fights, and that usually leads to a win. It could put him in danger eventually, but against Victor Altamirano, I think he could get it done. Altamirano, 12-3, and a loss most recently to Tim Elliott, where he just got out grappled. And Tim Elliott, funky style, he could do it to you. But Altamirano does have good moments in the UFC. He also brings it. He also leaves his all in that cage. So these guys are gonna bring it. I do expect this fight to be a scrap, but I think Felipe dos Santos is very accustomed to the scrap, and he's gonna get it done either by knockout or by decision. This guy is gonna have the physicality advantage, I think, as well, in terms of the grappling exchanges. So give me Felipe dos Santos to win this one by knockout or by decision. I don't see this one going to the judges, guys. Next fight, we got Luis Rodriguez taking on Dennis Bondar. Now, Dennis Bondar, I'm not convinced this guy is UFC caliber. This guy has not doesn't have a win in the UFC yet, and in his losses he has not really had great moments. I don't think, like I said, I'm not really convinced he's UFC caliber, and it's very obvious they matched him up with Luis Rodriguez, who did have a loss in his contender series, but then worked up a streak, 5-fight winning streak now, and has a chance to bounce back, making his debut in the UFC, taking on Dennis Bondar. So they want to see, the UFC just wants to see if Luis Rodriguez can break that mold. Can he break that UFC caliber status, which is where Dennis Bondar still is? Third fight on his contract. Dennis Bondar has to be fighting for his career now, coming off 2 losses. So I expect this one to also be a banger. But Luis Rodriguez, very well-rounded on the feet, very well-rounded on the ground, 24 years old. Give me the up-and-comer. I think the 5-fight win streak says it all. This guy is only learning more. The only thing that worries me here is that this fight is at flyweight, and he hasn't made that cut in a while. So since the contender series where he lost. So The weight cut, I will see. Maybe I'll make a pick flip after the weigh-ins, but we shall see how he looks on the weigh-ins. Give me Luis Rodriguez right now to win this one by knockout or decision, guys. Next fight, Claudio Puelles taking on Fares Ziam. Now, Fares Ziam is going to pose the same exact problem that Dan Hooker posed for Claudio Puelles in terms of having the height and reach advantage and the striking advantage for sure. Puelles, one-dimensional. He's going to Eminari roll. He's going to just single leg, double leg, whatever he can to get the fight to the ground, because that's where he predominantly works in majority of his fights. He doesn't want to stand with any of his opponents, and it's very obvious. So Fares Ziam has got to work on the footwork here, and I'm counting on it. 26 years old. Like I said, he's gonna have the same. He's gonna have the height and reach advantage that Hooker had. He just doesn't have the knockout power that Hooker does have in terms of what we've seen from Fares Ziam. But I am counting on him to keep the fight standing, stay on the outside of the, crazy rolls or crazy takedowns that Puelles will be attempting in this fight, and he should win this one either by decision. I'm counting right now. I say decision, but if he wins this one by finish, that'll be pretty impressive. I'll say we can start putting Fares Ziam against higher caliber opponents. For right now, I'm gonna say decision, Fares Ziam. Next fight, guys, Edgar Chairez taking on Daniel Lacerda. This is a rematch. It got rebooked and then canceled, and now we got a rematch. In the first fight, Chairez was able to lock up a submission, and if the ref just waited a few seconds longer, I think we would have got an official tap. But there is a little controversial tap on Daniel Lacerda's part, because he claimed that he didn't, and ref might have called the fight too soon. I think it was locked in. Like I said, if you just waited a little bit longer, there was nothing else that Daniel Lacerda could have done. But nonetheless, we got a rematch here. I think we've seen it all. Daniel Lacerda is one round and one round only type of fighter. This guy is now taking this one on at elevation in Mexico City. I don't think that's going to favor him very well, because the cardio dump, you guys see there's no heavyweights here. So, and that's for a reason, because the cardio at elevation is going to get tested, and Daniel Lacerda is already known for only having a round. So Chairez should walk through this guy. Give me Chairez to win this one by knockout or by decision, guys. Next fight, Jesus Aguilar taking on Mateus Mendonca. Now, Jesus Aguilar is very aware that he doesn't have a reach advantage in any of his fights. He's actually got the shortest reach recorded in the UFC right now. Because of that, he knows that he has to fight like a dog. He has to fight in the phone booth. He's swinging with overhands, and he got a knockout finish against Shannon Ross where he was able to close the distance, land that overhand right, and put Shannon Ross to sleep. Now, can't put too much stock into that, because Shannon Ross, unfortunately, has been getting knocked out by everyone that he faced. So, Jesus Aguilar, they have him as a dog here against Mateus Mendonca. And Mateus Mendonca, short notice fight against Javid Basharat, where he showed that he doesn't have the IQ to be, in my opinion, ever crack the top 15. As of right now, he doesn't have the IQ. He needs to learn a lot more, and only 25 years old, so he still has the time. But for right now, he needs to, he showed a lot of holes. He definitely doesn't have the defensive awareness, and against a guy like Jesus Aguilar, that worries me, because Aguilar likes to come forward. He's a pressure fighter. He's not gonna worry about what your game plan is and what you're going to be throwing. So he's gonna come forward no matter if it costs him. He's willing to take a punch to give a punch. I'm gonna go with Jesus Aguilar to win this one by knockout or by decision, guys. Next fight, Cristian Quinonez taking on Raoni Barcelos. Now, super tough fight to pick here because Quinonez, 27 years old, a lot of experience, 18-4, 3 losses in the regional scene, 1 loss in the UFC, which is his most recent fight to Hyung Ho Kang, where he got, basically clubbed and subbed. He rocked Hyung Ho Kang and then thought he had him, was not defensively aware enough. Hyung Ho Kang closed the distance, and he just basically walked into a punch. Quinonez walked into a punch and got clubbed and subbed in that one. Now, taking on Raoni Barcelos, who only 1 win in his last 5. So you can see that the trend is starting to, the stock on Raoni Barcelos is starting to fall. He's 36 years old and a few months away from 37. I don't know how, we can say we know where his ceiling is in terms of potential for Raoni Barcelos. I think he's just cashing checks now, almost 37, and he's taking on Quinonez. Quinonez definitely wants to prove that he's worked on his game, and I just think this is a really tough fight for it to be only your 3rd fight in the UFC. To take on Raoni Barcelos, that's not an easy task, and I'm actually gonna go with Raoni Barcelos to get this one done by decision. I think he could win 2 rounds. I'm only questioning his cardio here, but I'm gonna edge Raoni Barcelos right now by decision, guys. Next fight, we got Manuel Torres taking on Chris Duncan. Super fun fight here. The only person who can make this one boring is Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan training with American Top Team for this fight, and what he's been posting is a lot of wrestling, a lot of grappling. He might want to crotch sniff his way into a decision in this one. I'm very worried about that. Taking on Manuel Torres, because I don't blame him why, you might want to crotch sniff here, because Manuel Torres has the power. 2 knockout finishes in his only 2 fights in the UFC. He's 14-2 overall. This guy comes forward. He's with everything. He has phenomenal combinations. He's, just got super ways, like just different ways of landing his shots. Against Nicholas Mota, he pulled one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen. Elbow finish that, I'll definitely show it to you guys here so we can all take a glamour at that knockout, guys. It was crazy. And then one of the knockouts of the year last year, for sure. Now taking on Chris Duncan, who, like I said, he's gonna want to wrestle here. I definitely am expecting Chris Duncan to shoot in this fight. However, Chris Duncan takes a lot of damage in the process of trying to get the fight to the ground. In his Contender Series fight, he got dropped, and in his last 2 fights, both of those fighters have had success. Yanal Ashmouz and Omar Morales have had success on the feet against Chris Duncan. I'm gonna be riding with Manuel Torres. The 5-fight win streak, the guy, he's gonna have a reach advantage, a slight reach advantage here. He's also got the power advantage for sure. He's got slick combos. I'm counting on him to land something clean and also keep this fight on the feet. I'm very worried if this fight goes into the later rounds, because Manuel Torres has not fought to decision since 2018. So we also have to, see how that goes. But Manuel Torres is the pick right now by knockout, guys. Next fight, we got Yazmin Haureguy taking on Sam Hughes. Yazmin, 3-1 favorite in this fight. Pretty crazy, in my opinion. I think, coming off a knockout loss, you shouldn't be a 3-1 favorite. It just makes me not want to bet on you. But however, taking on Sam Hughes, very well known as the cardio killer. She is in there and she will give you 15 minutes of work. She is not gonna go away, and she's taking on Yazmin. Yazmin also very well proven to go 15 minutes, but her 15 minutes are a war. She comes forward. She is very, very pressure fighter type of person. She doesn't want to counter. She wants to come forward and knock you out. And Yazmin definitely could do that to Sam Hughes. But Sam Hughes, you know, she's shown that she has a chin, but she's also shown that, you know, she can get front kicked by Tecia Torres. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm not betting on this fight, but the pick is Yazmin to get this one done. I think she does have the tools to really clip Sam Hughes and really hurt her, and that's gonna look good on the judges. I think she could win 2 rounds for sure, and I'm only worried about that 3rd round. But Sam Hughes by then will probably not have the power to really land anything hard to affect Yazmin enough. So give me Yazmin to get this one done by knockout or by decision. Next fight, guys, we got Raul Rosas Jr. taking on Ricky Turcios. Now, Raul Rosas Jr. is a teenager, guys. He's learning how to fight in the UFC. And how I feel about that is just, I'm not going to bet on him. He's on the no bet list for me. I think we've seen how fighters who are just learning how to fight in the UFC, we've seen how that goes. You know, guys like Chase Hooper and whatnot. But, you know, just definitely automatic fade for me. But I do think he could get it done against Ricky Turcios. Ricky Turcios, long layoff for him, has not fought since 2022. And in his fights in the UFC, not looking too good. You know, a loss to Amin Zahabi, where the IQ of Amin Zahabi was there. It showed that, you know, he's just a step ahead in the striking, in the grappling. Man, just Ricky Turcios got taken down a bunch of times in all of his fights, and Raul Rosas is a guy who is going to grapple. You know, that's what he's known for. He's going to wrestle. He's going to look to finish you, and I think he's going to have a physicality advantage in this fight. Despite him being just a teen, he is definitely the stronger opponent. And we're going to see it on weigh-ins. So give me Raul Rosas to get this one done by decision. If he gets a finish, you know, that's very impressive, and we can definitely raise his stock in terms of considering on betting on him. But as of right now, like I said, automatic fade for me. Next fight, Daniel Zellhuber taking on Francisco Prado. Another extremely fun fight here because Prado, he brings it, man. He has a lot of power. In his last fight, he had a first round knockout to Otman Azaitar, and his only loss in his career was to Jamie Mullarkey. Short notice, he had to fly out to Australia. So a lot of questions behind, you know, Francisco Prado and where his stock is in the UFC or as a fighter in general. And as for Daniel Zellhuber, his only loss came to Trey Ogden. Trey Ogden, you know, just humbled him up. You know, he was not able to use his height and reach very well in that fight, and he got pieced up every round, in my opinion. I think that humbled up Daniel Zellhuber. He learned that he's got. Listen, man, he's 6'1", 77-inch reach for a reason. This guy has to use it, and in his last 2 fights, he took advantage of that. He went 3 rounds against Lando Venata and unanimous decision win. That's a great opponent to go 3 rounds. You know, you learn a lot of experience there. And then he goes and wraps up Giagos in an anaconda choke. Basically clubbed him, subbed him, because he rocked him on the feet. So he was having success on the feet there. He went 3 rounds with Lando. I like the experience that Daniel has had in terms of his career for this fight. I think he can avoid the power shots coming from Francisco Prado. I think he's coming into his own as a fighter, and he should use that height and reach advantage that he's going to have here. So footwork, stay on the outside. win this one by decision because he's gonna have to avoid that power. Like I said, I'm counting on Daniel Zellhuber to win this one by decision, guys. Next fight is the co-main event. Like the video, guys, comment, subscribe, let me know what you guys think of these picks so far. We got Yair Rodriguez taking on Brian Ortega. This is a rematch. Now, the first round, which is the only round we got to see, Brian Ortega, people are saying Brian Ortega was having success. I don't agree. I don't think he was having much success in that fight. I think Rodriguez was just starting to piece him up. And, you know, people, I don't know. I guess, you know, this is why judges, there's 3 of them, because we all have a different perspective of what we see, man. Yair Rodriguez was just starting to piece him up. And now he's got 5 rounds against Ortega to really work on him. Ortega has not fought anyone since that injury loss to Yair Rodriguez. That was in 2022. So almost 2-year layoff for Ortega. And now he's taking on Yair Rodriguez, who just recently had a title fight where he lost and he got outclassed by Volkanovski. Let's be honest, he got outclassed. He got taken down whenever he wanted, whenever Volkanovski wanted to. But that's Alexander Volkanovski, man. Like this is completely different level of talent here. And Ortega, long layoff. I'm not counting on him to really get it done. I think Yair Rodriguez should outclass Brian Ortega. He should win this one by knockout. He knows everyone is trying to take him down. Takedown defense is going to be phenomenal in this fight. I'm counting on him to keep this one on the feet and just piece up Ortega. He's got 5 rounds to knock him out. Yair Rodriguez by KO. All right, next fight, main event, Brandon Moreno taking on Brandon Royval. This is another rematch. Brandon Moreno has just shown that he's elevating his game every single time. He's 30 years old, guys. That's crazy because he's had so many title fights already. He's been a champion already. He's accomplished so many things, man, and he's still in the UFC, still hungry for more. Taking on Royval. Royval coming off a title shot. This is actually short notice for Royval, because he was Moreno was supposed to fight Amir Albazi, but Royval coming off a title loss where he just didn't look good. He got outclassed by Alexander Pantoja. And if you were to compare the two, because these two share that opponent in Pantoja, I thought Brandon Moreno had a way closer fight. And now Brandon Moreno coming off that loss to Pantoja, Royval coming off that loss to Pantoja. I am just looking forward to what Moreno learned and how he's going to improve. Whereas Royval, I know that he's going to come forward. I know he's going to be aggressive, and that's basically his best chance in this fight, because he's not going to have the jiu-jitsu or the grappling exchanges advantage in this fight against Brandon Moreno. And Brandon Moreno has the grappling. Like he took on Figueiredo. Figueiredo was not able to sub him. You know, I just don't see many paths to victory for Royval. He's got a puncher's chance in this one. So I'm going to be rocking with Brandon Moreno to win and close up this main event. He could win this one by knockout or by decision. I think he could drag Royval into the later rounds and win this one by knockout. Or, you know, if it's just an all-out war, I'm counting on Moreno to win this one by decision, guys. There you guys have it. Those are my picks. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm out of here. Peace.